today on the bench we have this beautiful shell pink Charvel, and this is a customer's guitar. Really cool dude. I'll tell you this, he plays in a band locally here in the greater Phoenix area, and he was having problems with this guitar having dead notes. Now, when he was here, I tested the straightness of the neck. It is perfectly flat. I used the fret rocker, and somewhere up in the higher register, we started getting a couple rocking frets. So that can definitely, if everything's here and you get one that's higher than the rest, when you press that string down in the lower register, it's going to start buzzing out dead on the higher fret that's sticking up above the rest. So what we're going to do is get these strings off. We are going to do the fret rocker again, mark the high frets, and just take those ones down. Rather than doing a complete level and crown, I don't think this guitar needs it. I think we just need to address a few frets. From there, I will lightly clean up the guitar before I put new strings on it. And then I'm going to work with the intonation, the action, and the intonation, just to ensure that we don't get high frets again and any string buzzing. So first thing we're going to do is loosen these strings. Luckily he has locking tuners on this, so it'll be easy to do the string change. It's morning time, so my eyes are a little fuzzy. Fuzzy on a Saturday morning, there we go. We're gonna snip these strings because we have new strings arriving today that we're gonna put on this. And snipping the strings just makes it easier to remove through the bridge. The way that the trem is set up, the bridge is just slightly tilted and shifted, so it's hard to pull the strings up and out of this cavity. So I'm just going to remove this. We have some small screws on here, so I'm going to use my Music Nomad tool with this nice little magnetic screwdriver that fits perfectly in the screw. And while we do this, we'll get our handy dandy parts tray out so we can put all the screws in it. These screws have small heads, but they're nice long screws to ensure a secure hold. And when I say long, just longer than the normal Fender screws. Let me need to show you a little comparison real quick. Okay, so the normal screws that hold on like fender back plates and pick guards look like this. They are a larger head, a thicker shaft, but they are a little bit shorter, whereas these are thinner and smaller, but a tad bit longer. This is a nice higher quality instrument that Charvel makes. I mean, it has really beautiful contours and this nice rounded neck joint up top here. Very reminiscent of something like a high quality Ibanez. I've never had the pleasure of working on a Charvel before, so this is really cool to see. And what I like especially about this guitar is this nice flat contour here where they put the jack on this back contour. And so one, that's nice, it's not flat in having the jack there, because that could get in the way. It's on the contour pointing out, and the jack goes downward into the jack so that the cord comes up, and you can easily wrap it around, you know, your strap to keep it there, keep it safe. And yeah, just a lot of really nice quality details on this Charvel. I know that they are owned by Fender, but a separate entity, all onto their own. And this is a really, really beautiful guitar, made in Mexico. Has this really beautiful roasted maple neck, super soft satin finish. Really digging this guitar. Back to work. Let's take a peek at this cavity while we got it opened. Really nice, really pretty, very clean cavity. What's interesting is you can see a little bit of spray left over on the sidewalls of this cavity where the springs run on the sidewalls, but everything else has been cleaned up very nicely. So it did get a little bit of a spray, open body sprayed, and then they took the time to go in and clean up the flat edge there so that the precision of how the back plate fits in, there's no little variances. I mean, this is really beautiful quality stuff. It's all in the details. That's what makes, besides the raw material and the quality of the raw material, and obviously some higher quality components, what makes a higher end guitar is all in these small details, and how much of those small details the manufacturer is putting in on the back end of construction. That's what really makes a fine guitar, is how much attention to detail after the initial build the instrument gets, and also those small details that happen along the manufacturing process. But yeah. All right, let's get our handy dandy blue Sharpie, our Fretwork. We already know the neck is nice and straight, so we're not going to deal with any kind of relief adjustment. What we're going to do is look for the high frets. Interesting. The third fret has just the smallest amount of rock, just very slightly, but it's there in the center. So we marked the top of the fret in the area I want to pay the most attention to, just on the crown with a blue Sharpie. So I can come back to that. And on something like that, I'm probably not even going to bother like flattening it. I will probably just remove the excess and work it down a little bit with the crown file so that the crown remains intact, and we're just shaving off minimal amount of material because we don't fully need to grind it down and take too much material off. The 10th fret has some rock. Middle, a little bit more towards the treble side. So again, with something like that, I'll be working with the crown file rather than the flat sanding block where I would flatten it and then crown it again. Okay, we have it on the 11th fret as well. Let's do 12th fret on the treble side has an increased amount of rock compared to the other 3 frets that we found. On that one, I may take the sanding block to it a little bit, because that was more of a rock than the others, and then crown it. Fifteenth fret in the middle. Seventeenth in the middle, just a little. 17th middle, little. on the 23rd fret, I have just the smallest amount of rock. Also, just dragging my felt pen across that 23rd fret, I felt the felt snag in a few spots as I was gliding it across the crown, which means they really didn't pay too much finishing attention to polishing those upper frets either. So that'll be something that we take care of. We have our masking tape. So the first thing we have to do, because we are filing down frets made of metal, there will be the smallest amounts of metal shavings. So we're going to come down here, slide it in between the neck and the neck pickup, and cover, because we don't want those little metal shavings getting attracted to the magnets in the pickups and then sticking to them, because that can cause little bits of interference. I'll be honest with you, I honestly don't know. I don't have that experience because I just learned to cover the pickups when I do this process from people who know the secrets. So I don't know what it does. I've never experienced it. And luckily, with painter's masking tape, it's very clean, and we will be cleaning the body off. Everything's said and done anyway. And I'm being very generous with the tape because this is a very nice guitar, and I want to do a very good job on it, so I'm just not taking any risks, using a healthy amount of this painter's masking tape. We don't want any risk of metal shavings. All right. Nice and even. Okay, so on this guitar, we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 frets that were high and rocking. Everything else is beautiful. And I'll say this, the fret ends are dressed. There is very minimal, there's no sharp ends, I'll say that, no sharp ends. The neck might have shrunk just a tidbit because I am feeling the tang of the frets, but ever so slightly. They're not sticking out, but the tiniest microscopic bit I can feel them. I'm not going to address the fret ends. They're nice. They're rounded. They've been done well. I'd probably say equally to my American Fender. The caveat there is the asterisk there is that the American Fender has a yellow maple neck that has been lacquered, where it's satin on the back, I believe, but everything else, the fretboard and everything else, has been lacquered, so that lacquer smooths over those edges, and you're not feeling any sharp ends. Whereas this, I believe, has this has a satin finish on it that's very thin, and you do feel any kind of raised areas more. But I'd say the quality finish touches on these frets, with the exception of 7 high ones, was done very well. And I really think that these 7 high ones, they weren't really high. They weren't like when you start working your way past the 12th fret on like a Squire. They were minimally high. I got minimal rock, but on a flat neck with low action, those little bits are going to poke up and probably deaden the note. So I'm thinking in the factory, the person doing these details was setting it up more in like a blues, rock and roll type setup where the string height is a little bit higher, whereas this guitar is somewhere in between like a metal shredder and a blues rock guitar. It's somewhere in between. And it has a flatter radius than, say, the 9.5 Fender. It's a compound radius. I believe it goes 12 to 14 or 12 to 16, somewhere in there. So it gets pretty flat, and it starts out flatter, and it gets progressively flatter. So I'm thinking that they had originally a little bit higher string action, and so those little, those frets that were just poking their head up really had no effect on deadening the string. But if we want the low action, and we want to get some bends, then we had to address those frets. So the fingerboard edge is rolled, so don't have to do anything like that. I'm glad, because it's a maple neck. It's not rosewood or one of those darker ones. There's no slab. Fret ends are nice, so we're not going to really touch that. All we're going to do from this point forward is polish. We just want to polish the frets. I have cans of compressed air at my workbench because it's nice to just get rid and blow in the direction away from pickups. Blow those little metal shavings away. Okay, to polish these frets, what we're going to do is use this metal fret guard and some steel wool. This is very, very fine. I think it's I think they call it 4/0 steel wool. It's like some of the finest that you can get. And this will just polish those frets up real nicely. We're polishing all the frets, not just the ones that we worked on. I'm going to show you the difference between a polished fret and an unpolished fret. The unpolished fret is not one that I have worked on, so it's just how it was from the factory and the time that the customers had it and played it. Okay, I'm going to put that picture up now, and you will see it is between the 7th and 9th fret. The 8th fret is the meridian, where is the median between polished and unpolished. All right, frets are leveled, crowned, polished. So now it's time to just clean this thing up a little bit. This is just guitar polish and cleaner that we sprayed on a rag very lightly. We're just trying to kind of wipe up. We're not doing any deep polishing because this is a kind of a satin finish. We just want to grab all the extra dust. Just grab that dust that's been sitting on there and accumulating, that's all. Okay, now I think what we'll do is take this deoxit. We're going to go into this cavity and we are going to clean up all of the potentiometers so we don't get any crackle and static, and it cleans them out, keeps them lubricated, keeps them sounding clean. Good looking control cavity. Again, it has the nice cleanup as the trim cavity, and it has black, very thin layer of black shielding paint, but that's still good. It's better than nothing. I'll say that there's a lot of excessive wiring in here, and then it's all bunched together and zip tied. But I mean, other than that, it looks good. Good solder jobs. Nice big 500K potentiometer. This looks like it has a super switch. Let's see here. Mega switch. Excuse me. This looks like a mega switch, which would make sense. Hold on. Yeah, because this is humbucker single. Yes, humbucker single. So we have that mega switch in there, which would give us HSS. All right, first position humbucker, position 2 split coil humbucker in middle, position 3 split humbucker on the top half. So let's start this over. First position, right there, humbucker. Second position, bridge humbucker split towards the bridge and middle. Third position, middle position, it is the top half of the humbucker, more towards the neck, and the neck pickup. Position 4 should be both single coils, middle and neck, and then neck. So the way I went down this path was during COVID, I took my guitar interest to the next level because, you know, we all had a lot of time on our hands. So, been playing since 12, but, you know, plateaued for a long time, lost interest, came back, you know, back and forth for a long time. But during COVID, I got really interested because I got this book at, I think I got this at Goodwill. It is Guitar Player Repair Guide, 3rd edition. And it comes with some kind of CD, but whoever the owner was previous had made their little notes in here, and quite a lot of you know, highlighting certain things, and then there's like tags here for things that they did, and I mean, this deep dives into so much repair work and setup work for all kinds of different guitars, and then it has like factory specs for different kinds of adjustment heights for strings, for pickups. It even has preferred things like the SRV Strat, preferred settings. So here we go. Let's just look at this. Fender factory specs for their different models. There's the American Standard, vintage, and SRV. So pickup height, string height, bridge height, relief at 7th fret, and nut action. There's the Ultra, Plus, and Beck, and their factory specs for those: 52 Telly, Malmsteen, Clapton, SRV, Floyd Rose Classic, 5-string bass, American Standard Vintage bass, Ultra and Plus bass. So for all kinds of things, there is the factory specs. And the previous owner highlighted different things and made little notations, and so this has been a wealth of knowledge for me on all things setup and wiring and repair side work. And beyond this, YouTube was helpful for some stuff as well, but I mean, this was my Bible all through COVID. Just tinkering with my own guitars before I started acquiring more to do different work and stuff and get a variation of all kinds of guitars off OfferUp that came in different states, and I wanted to do different things too for getting all kinds of practice under my belt. So, Super Switch, I'm assuming, for all the variants of pickup configurations, which is cool. And the reason I think it's a super or mega switch is because of the two different rows of, instead of like a Strat switch having just one row of contact points to wire to, this has two rows. So that's really cool. Anyway, back to cleaning out the potentiometers. Must have been some dust in there for sure. As I turned I felt them start to loosen up. We're just going to work them back and forth. Just so the contact points of the potentiometer are working that contact cleaner in between their contact planes. It'll get any dust, any corrosion, and even though we live in Arizona and it's very dry and there's not a whole lot of like salt water mist in the air or anything like on the coast. Oxidization just happens to metal. And it happens, the process happens immediately, even after you polish metal. That's why you have to keep polishing it as time goes on. So oxidization does happen, and it happens in electronics, and that as your contact point is sweeping across its plane to figure out its level, along that path, if there's oxidization, corrosion buildup, you're having dips in conductivity, and those dips in conductivity can lead to things like static. I know all about metal oxidization and conductivity because I work in the electrical utility industry. Just a little bit on that 5-way switch too. right, I would say I am happy with that. Let's put this back plate back on. One last thing I'm going to do is take a Q-tip, put the oxide on it, just clean the inside of the output jack. Just get any kind of corrosion, oxidization, buildup that is on the inside of the sleeve and the prongs, so that we have nice, clean contact. Alright, done with that. We are still waiting for my customer's preferred strings to arrive. So, in the meantime, I'm going to use the Music Nomad Tune-It. This is a lubricant for all the contact points that touch the string to prevent binding. Okay, so string tree, which already was a nice minimal contact point, rounded, kind of like rolling style. The nut, which seems to be, no, it looks cut pretty good. I was gonna say it looks cut pretty low. But I think that's good. So inside the nut slots onto the contact point on the bridge. Now we just wait for the Ernie Ball Super Slinkies to arrive. Okay, our strings have arrived. Ernie Ball Super Slinky 9 through 42s. Okay, now after doing the string up tuning, adjusting the action so that we're not getting any dead notes, and trying to minimize buzz, but buzz isn't a bad thing as long as the note sustains. You know, a lot of guitars will have a little bit of fret buzz where it's just kissing it, but if it sustains, it's fine. We actually had a lot of fret buzz up here before. There's a little bit, but that's normal. As long as it's sustaining. got my Fender Rock Pro 700 under the desk. Okay, so what we did for this full setup was make sure that all the frets were level and then polished. The next thing we did after that was deox it in the potentiometers and on the switch, followed by putting tuning lubricant on all the string contact points, meaning the bridge saddles, the nut, the string tree. We got it strung up, did the height adjustment, and so customer was having problems with buzzing and dead notes, even all the way up here. So the leveling of all the frets took care of a little bit of that, and micro adjustments on the bridge to raise the action just a smidge. And then what I did was I just gently backed the neck relief off. If I put that, if I put my level on the neck, it is not relieved largely. Matter of fact, I still can't see light coming through, but it was just enough, just a fraction of a millimeter enough to make a difference and make everything play really nice. So the other thing was the bridge was not intonated very well. So now we have it's kind of like my Mexican Fenders. This is a Mexican Charvel. The bridge was pretty straight across the board. So I did the micro adjustments to get it into perfect intonation, and we are in E standard per the customer's request. This plays, the action, again, it's not as low as it was when it came in, and that's because it was buzzing when it came in. The frets that did not rock a whole lot, just a little bit. So even with doing that, there was still a little bit of string buzz and dead notes. So the only thing you can do there is just bring your bridge saddles up just a kiss, and that mixed with just the slightest backing off of the truss rod adjustment brought it into great playability. And I would say let's bring my American Strat down here. Do we have my little measuring tool? Okay. So the American Fender has a 1.5 millimeter under the 12th fret and 1.5 millimeter under the 12th fret on the high E, and I believe that's what I achieved here. 1.5 and maybe a smidgen just under 1.5. So that is pretty much this has the same action now as my American Fender, except for like the strings are matching the radius of this. So it actually feels a little bit better playable because of this kind of flat and compound radius that's going on the Charvel. This feels very good to play. But it has the same action height between the two high E's as, or the two E's as the American Fender does. Possibly again, like a hair lower. So now, let me turn that off. Let's give this another. Okay, now that that's all done with, and now we can just wipe down the backside. And here's that beautiful guitar. Ready for the customer. Now all I have to do is, ooh, there we go, that's nice. I just have to put it back in its case and wait for the customer to come get it. Oh, his band, I'll plug it here. I will add right here. I'm going to add their YouTube that you can find them at, and they so far I believe they've only played one show, and it was cool. It was good. Check it out. It was here in Scottsdale, and yeah, check out his band. I'm definitely going to. Anytime they're gonna play, it'd give me a chance to go out, get some food and some drinks, and listen to live music. So yeah, check them out.